I am, we are, the community we serve.
Worst day probably would be having been during the protests and things. So one of the reasons I became an officer, like I said, I grew up in West Dayton, and I'd never really had any bad experiences with police officers at all. But I do understand that there are bad experiences. I've had friends have had some bad experiences. And, you know, I've always thought to myself, like, if you want to change something or if you want to see change, then the best way to do it is to, you know, try and affect that change yourself, like put yourself right up in there. And so that was one of the reasons why I became an officer, to, you know, police in the community that looks a lot like me, being, you know, black male. So, you know, that's what I did. And I mean, clearly I have to do my job, but at the same time, I try to be a leader, try to be a good example, try to relate a lot of times, try to build that relationship with the community. So to get to the worst day, so I was standing out there, I'd work on the bikes. So, you know, we were doing something, we were standing there and there was a march, and then there was a mom, a black mom that had two kids with her. She had what couldn't have been, he probably was about 7 or 8. And so, you know, I've been a 7 or 8 year old. My memory is not great, but, you know, I remember being very impressionable, especially, you know, if my mom's telling me something and she specifically pointed at me and was telling her son just, you know, about how, you know, I'm not who he wants to be, calling me, you know, all different kind of not nice names, and you know, basically, you know, just saying that, you know, I'm a sellout, this is I'm not for them, and all kinds of negative things. And so as I'm sitting here listening to her, which I know she's just hurt and maybe not know the best way to express her anger, but she's telling these things to this young boy who is looking at me. And, you know, one thing I was thinking in my head was, I've been in a position where I've been able to be there, and the parents are telling their kids, this is what you want to be like, right? Like in a position when I played football, when I played for Ohio State, you know, it was a thing where the kids looked up to me, you know, this is what you can do, this is how you can make it, you know, all these kind of things like that. I'm clearly, I'm not the same person, I'm not, because I was a kid in college. However, it's still me, you know, I still have a lot of the same beliefs and values. I still put on my pants one leg at a time, just like everybody else does. I'm no different than, you know, when I was playing for Ohio State or anything like that. So it was very disheartening to hear those things, because that's the total opposite of why I signed up to do the job. So that was probably the worst day, just because I got to see a young boy get told and maybe get influenced, you know, that I'm not what he should look up to. And I'm not saying that I am, just because I was wearing that uniform, you know, now I'm devalued, and now, you know, I'm not achieving what I wanted to achieve at that certain point. So that probably was the most disheartening day that I've had thus far.